Okay, so I guess I'm gonna just do Roblox because I can't do anything else on this crappy computer. Assassin. Go and get some soup. Earache. Oh god, I'm so stupid. I can't even. Why do they hurt? It's not showing my game. Yo, Bevin, get in here and help me. I'm stupid. It's not showing the game I'm playing. Oh my god. I'm so stupid. It's not. Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus, my ears. Shit.
What the hell are you doing now?
Shoosh, my child.
There you go. Congratulations, bitch.
Crap, what do? Oh, there I did. What? I totally dapped it. Do you know any good, like, games that aren't Roblox? Because I can't get anything else on my computer. Oh, whoops, I totally derped out. I might need to play something different. This one, yeah. Wait, am I too loud or is it making it too loud? Ugh. I think I'm just gonna watch some memes. Bevan, I swear to God, I will kill you. I don't think I want to watch any of these memes. They all look terrible. Oh, Filthy Frank Daddy.
Crossfire.
Intense trivia show.
1 minus 1 equals
35.
Teddy bear's alive!
Really? Well, isn't that exciting?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Scares here.
When it came to dinner, I used to try anything. Now, I just serve Tyson crispy
Chicken strips!
Outside. Everybody ready for a wild, wet ride?
Slip and slide.
We just want to know your name.
Is that sexual harassment?
How you just did when you said that to me? That fuck shit. Hey.
Oh, yeah. Walking in the club. Walking in the club night. My ears, they hurt. My ears hurt.
What?
And what can I say except you're welcome?
Oh my God, not that song.
You're welcome. Just my way of being me.
I'm gonna watch some offensive memes.
One minus 1 equals
Mr. Nigel Farage.
Looking, you are really handsome. What's your name?
People from Oxfordshire generally call me Farage.
Do you want to go back to them or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Donald Trump.
Is it me? Is it you? Who knows? Can you get through with the mystery?
Does he look like a bitch?
Uh-huh.
You're out of here.
Can you get through? Do you have a clue? Do your person wear glasses?
I double dare you, motherfuckers!
I'm gone. Me too. Can you get through? Not you or you. You're Sam.
Shit, Negro. That's all you had to say.
Let's play a game.
Guess who? Game cards do not actually.
No!
Joe, they are really getting after that air guitar. They really are, Mike. This is crazy. I've never seen air guitar like this. It looks like they might be playing Highway to the Danger Zone, Joe. No, Mike. No, they're not. A lot of ice in that cage. Hope nobody slips. You see? This is why we clean up ice. Here we go, the start of round 2, and a little bit of trouble on the glove touch. Joe, walk us through it. He went for the glove touch, he missed and fell, and he became a fish. These things happen. A lot of fighters becoming fish out of water lately, Joe. Oh, look, he's trying to walk. Mike, Fish cannot walk. They lack the legs to do so. Sayers with the spinning kick, and all of his bones have disintegrated. Mike Jose Aldo's taking shots! I don't know how many more of that exact same punch he can take! Jose Aldo, almost statue-like in his focus, reminds me of James Toney, Joe. Chris Weidman is not intimidated by the Spider. He's not! Look, he's getting right in his face! I've never seen somebody stand so close and at the same time do absolutely nothing. A brief kiss, and it looks like they're trying to fuse together to make the greatest middleweight of all time, Joe. Oh, don't be scared, homie. Classic Nick Diaz. An invisible monster has assisted Weidman with the takedown, Joe. That's gotta be illegal. Joe, does Khabib realize that he is both levitating and fighting the air? I'm not sure, Mike. He's like a little jackrabbit. He is beating the hell out of that air, Mike. They clinch up, and Nate goes straight into the Scarecrow defense. Joe, explain.
Hashem, if you die, probably. Who died?
Gotta take lace in each hand. You go over and under again. You make a loop-de-loop and pull, and your shoes are looking cool.
Los, nehmt dieses Netz! Jetzt wird er gehetzt! Wenn ich ruf jetzt, dann werft ihr das Netz! Jetzt!
Richtiger treuloser Feigling!
Tut, was getan werden muss! Ein alter Trick, leicht auszumalen! Der Kerl rutscht aus auf den Bananenschalen!
Verreiter Versager!
These habituated chimpanzees are still wild animals, and therefore unpredictable and potentially dangerous.
But it's been a heck of a ride, to be honest. I really can't complain. Yeah, I was kind of I was a little down when I found out I was injured and I had to have surgery again, or you know, with another knee. But at the end of the day, you know, I have amazing teammates. You know, guys like Draymond, everybody on this team, they come over there, they wrap their hands around me like, yo, we got.
Fuck! 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 Fuck!
Where are you now that I need you?
Would you both like to come and see how I fly the plane?
Oh, yeah!
Are you ready? Are you sure? Okay, the secret formula is John Cena Seaman!
Und jetzt genau zuhören! Ich muss euch mal zeigen, worum's hier geht. Passt gut auf, damit ihr mich versteht. Wer die Nummer 1 sein will als Bösewicht, kann Superhelden fangen und verpasst sie nicht. Los! Nun schleicht euch heran, wie ich es mach. Seid leise und vermeidet Krach.
Das war ein Befehl!
Mattel's new baby secret. She whispers just to you. It's free real estate.
For him to break his body in half here to stop Gil Melendez from getting in his guard. Joe, as we know, the only way to get into the mummy guard is by jumping erratically a la Babalu. For the fans at home that are maybe new to the sport, is he allowed to kick him in the balls that much, Joe? Only if he's been completely frozen for several minutes, Mike. Joe, why is it that Katzengai...
Those memes are like so old.
TJ Dillashaw has done it again, Joe! Mike, there's a Bigfoot. He's being strangled, Mike!
In the oven, the mighty oven, the Hebrew screams tonight. In the oven, the fiery oven, the Hebrew screams tonight. tendies on the plate. No tendies on the plate. Near the Auschwitz, the peaceful Auschwitz, the Hebrew screams tonight. Near the Auschwitz, the quiet Auschwitz, the Hebrew screams tonight.
If you don't press the like button on this video offensive compilations worked so hard on, you'll never get the suck. Never!
I'm gonna type some random shit and see what I get. Well, I've heard of this chick. Ellen plays Family Feud. No. Yeah, click the first one.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. The school board district's really not my hot button, but when I heard about what was going on with these no-bid contracts, Mr. Hansen, I had to come down here and talk to you. I'm here on behalf of the poor, the weak, and the homeless in this community.
For the time being, at least, a UK military intervention seems unlikely. Why are we doing this outside? Well, because it's cold and it's starting to rain and we can easily do it from a studio. I'm just wondering what... Yeah, well, that's very easy for you to say in your ivory tower. I'm just wondering... Really? Really? Okay, do you hear what you just said? He just said, why don't you, for once in your life, just do the fucking news? All right, no, I'm gonna do the fucking news. No, here is the fucking news. Ex-commercial TV PR man, old Etonian and occasional pig fucker David Cameron would like to bomb Syria. Unfortunately, Russia's got there first, and America's been doing it for ages. He wants to bomb Syria to stop the flow of refugees fleeing all the bombs. He's also hoping it will stop the increased influence of Islamic extremism. Bombing Syria will, of course, destroy the one remaining multicultural society in the region, leaving it open to the increased influence of Islamic extremism. To bomb Syria, therefore, is clearly mental. In other news, I'm doing the fucking news. In other news, Muslims are bad, China's bad, but not as bad as it used to be, and Russia is always bad. Nuclear weapons are good, and to suggest not using nuclear weapons is bad. Onto the economy. Debt is good. Corrupt banks are bad, but not bad enough for us to do anything about them. And poverty in the UK is a figment of your imagination. Onto housing. Jeremy Corbyn's plans to build affordable housing and create social housing for the poorest people in our society is a terrible idea. That's according to multi-millionaire, property magnate, and all-round shitpot Sir Alan Sugar. Environmental news, there's nothing to worry about, so please carry on consuming at your usual rate. And finally tonight, entertainment. Matt Damon's intelligent and articulate observations about sexuality in Hollywood means that he is definitely a homophobic twat. My name is Jonathan Pye, and that was the fucking news! Yes, I'm here. Yes. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, with the Conservative Party conference starting...
I want to see how they quit. But first...
Many of you have probably had to do it at one time or another in your working life, and if not, odds are you will at one point. Yes, we are talking about quitting your job. In most cases, it's done the very conventional way of handing in a letter or meeting with the boss privately. However, it doesn't have to be that way. As these following examples show, quitting your job can be as creative, funny, or over the top as you want it to be. From people who just plain hated their jobs, or bosses, to workers who needed a change of pace. These I quit moments are pretty impressive. 420. There is perhaps no more dramatic way to quit your job than to do it while actually on the job. Charlo Green, a reporter for a new network in Anchorage, Alaska, had had enough of the on-air life and decided to pursue her dream of legalizing marijuana. To the shock of her coworkers and indeed everyone watching, Green announced her resignation on live television and finished it all off by dropping the F-bomb before walking off set. The icing on the cake. Chris Holmes was a worker at Stansted Airport in England. When he was 31 years old, Holmes became a father, and it changed his outlook on his life. Wishing to spend more time with his family and to work a job that he actually liked, he quit his job in a rather unique and tasty way. You see, Holmes was also a cake designer, and his resignation letter came in the form of a white iced cake with black text icing. His coworkers may have been sad to see him go, but we imagine the cake helped them get over it a bit quicker.
We're gonna use a big word like colleagues and you spell that right. Wait. But you cannot spell organization right. Okay. Mr. King.
We thank you for flying. Steven Slater had served 20 years in the airline business, and we're guessing this ex-flight attendant had finally had enough of the pre-flight speeches and pushy customers. Having just finished a flight from Pittsburgh to JFK, Slater decided to quit in a dramatic fashion. The JetBlue employee grabbed the intercom, berated rude passengers, and then grabbed a beer and slid down the emergency chute to unemployment. His stunt got headlines everywhere, but resulted in a $10,000 fine and 1 year of probation. Telling it as it is. In 2012, Greg Smith had finally had enough of his job and decided to quit. Smith, an executive director at Goldman Sachs, had joined the company fresh out of school. However, as his resignation letter posted in the New York Times put it, the company had become toxic. Smith's letter is quite damning and highlights the various reasons he needed to quit. From trying to sell clients a product they don't need to referring to your customers as Muppets, Smith couldn't take it anymore and decided to share his final thoughts on the matter very publicly. What I really think. If you've watched enough news, then you know that every news network has their own agenda or political angles. Liz Wall found this out while working for Russia Today, a news network funded by the Russian government, which presents stories in a strongly pro-Russian light. In 2014, Wall decided she had had enough of the way Russia Today was reporting on events in Ukraine. While on the air, she voiced her concerns and announced that she was quitting. Dance it all away. As a video producer for a Taiwanese animation firm, Marina Shifrin had become disillusioned with her job. Looking to end her role in the business, Shifrin decided to produce one last video, which ended up going viral. The resignation video showed the 25-year-old dancing around the office to Kanye West's Gone. Meanwhile, in on-screen text, Shifrin explained she was quitting because her boss only cared about quantity and the job was taking up too much of her time. The resignation turned a lot of heads, including Queen Latifah, who offered her a role on her own talk show. With a little style. Phil Sipka didn't hate his job as a barista in Chicago, but it was time for something else. Rather than just quit like most of us, he decided to go out in style. With help from the Steve Harvey...
I don't care anymore. Oh wow.
The future of footwear has arrived, and can I tell you, it's really comfortable. Introducing knitted footwear from...
North Korea. To an outsider, this secretive state doesn't really make a lot of sense. In fact, to prove this point, quite a few activities and pleasures most of us indulge in on a daily basis are off limits in Kim Jong-un's country. From clothing to haircuts to travel, the state controls pretty much everything. Step out of line in North Korea and as you'll see, the man will come and take you away.
Yeah, he's a pretty childish person. I would have to say his ruling is kind of shit. But they do have a different culture. So I'm just saying, like, stuff that may not seem normal here. Obviously, if you don't know this, you're a fucking idiot. Or probably a little bit young. We do have, you know, I already fucking said all I need to say, fuck it.
Hey. So, comrade, be sure to pay attention to our video and answer our quiz that will be asked during it. We expect every citizen to do their part and get the answer correct. As always, we need to know that you are with us, so make sure you press that subscribe button so we can continue to send you the best daily propaganda. We mean videos. Let the spectacle commence! Sightseeing. Every year, millions of people take a break from work and head out on vacation. If you're like us, even a weekend road trip can be a nice way to briefly escape the office or the bustle of the city. Hopping in the car, you can drive pretty much anywhere, on any highway or down any side road as you explore the vast countryside. In fact, traveling around and taking pictures of pretty much anything is a standard and legal activity. This is not the case in North Korea. Tourists who travel to the authoritarian state are not free to do what they want. You are allowed to travel only down permitted roads and always with some form of guide who is sanctioned by the government. See a nice landscape you'd like to take a picture of? Don't even think about it. Odds are anything with a camera was confiscated before you left the hotel, and taking pictures of most things in North Korea is off limits. Stray from the state-permitted travel routes or snap some unsanctioned photos and you'll likely be fined and spend a good chunk of your time being questioned, if you're lucky. Religion. Freedom of religion is something most of us take for granted. After all, you can go to a church pretty much anytime, anywhere. You can carry your own copy of religious text like a Bible or Quran and even talk openly about religion to others in your home or in a public place. This is something which is totally legal and common in most countries. Then there's North Korea. Since the state is officially communist, it should also be atheist and care little about religion. Not so much. You see, over the past decade, more than one person has been arrested and imprisoned for religious reasons. For instance, visiting pastors have been held because they were believed to be trying to convert North Koreans or spread dissent. One man was even arrested and held after he left a Bible in a nightclub. Experts agree that the North Korean leadership views religion as a threat to its control over the people. Therefore, any discussion of God or religious teachings are seen as potentially destabilizing to the rule of the country. Celebrating holidays. Even if you're not the religious type, odds are that during certain holidays, you throw up a few decorations. Take Christmas as an example. While this winter festivity is based on religion, many families celebrate the season by throwing up a Christmas tree, covering the house in lights, and maybe putting an inflatable snowman or two up in the front yard. In the United States, activities like this won't get you locked up. In fact, they even have competitions.
Okay, I don't care anymore. It's kind of boring. Much boring. If anybody's even watching this, please just tell me why.
If you travel a lot for work or simply love to vacation, then odds are you've stayed in quite a few hotels. Naturally, you look up reviews, count the stars, and search up all the services offered. But you're missing one big thing. No matter what quality of hotel you stay in, the maids all have some interesting secrets that they tend to keep to themselves. Sure, for years you've heard rumors about hotels and the maid service, but those were always just urban legends. Or were they? Pack your bags, gas up the car, and be ready for our quiz that we'll ask during the video. It's hotel related, so we hope you have your credit card ready. But before we head off and learn some things that might have us questioning our next trip, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to turn on that notification so you stay up to date. When you book that room, you'd like to think that you will receive the same level of treatment from the hotel staff as the next guy. Well, we hate to burst your bubble, but you won't. It turns out that returning customers and guests deemed VIPs by the hotel are top dog as far as they're concerned. After all, these people bring in a lot of money or are a consistent source of revenue. It doesn't mean that you're not special, you're just not as special as the VIP. As far as the maids are concerned, VIPs are big business, and they will fight and pull rank over who gets to take care of the private suites and most expensive rooms. Sure, they still have to clean and take care of the room, but there's one big perk that sets it apart from most other rooms. Those VIPs tend to tip better than most people, and that's a huge bonus to the maid staff. Furthermore, guests are always leaving things behind. Odds are that a VIP guest is going to leave something a lot more valuable behind that a maid could potentially claim than the rest of us would. Snooping. We don't spend every hour of every day of our trip or vacation in our rooms. No, we head out to see sights, take in a show, go to a restaurant, or give that presentation. During that time, the maid service has probably come and gone from your room. Other than cleaning and tidying, they don't do anything else, right? Wrong. More than a few maids have confessed that if you leave stuff out, they'll look at it. If you forgot to zip up your bag and you just leave it open, there is a good chance that the maid will take a look through, especially if you're a high roller. Interesting clothing, magazines, and medications, if it's out to sea, it likely will be looked at. In extreme cases, there have even been reports that a maid has even looked through someone's laptop. So you better delete that browser history. Ultimately, we are all a little bit snoopy when it comes down to it. Maids are just doing what anyone else would do in that situation. Sofas and chairs.
Snagit is the tool for quick, clear communication. Click and drag to capture just what you need on your screen.
The United States is both strict and liberal when it comes to the items that are allowed in their country. From not allowing certain foods and antiques into the US to allowing chemicals in their food, you could say the standards are a bit hypocritical. Here are 10 things banned in the United States. Kinder Surprise eggs. Not even chocolate is safe from being banned in the United States. Kinder Surprise eggs were banned in 1938 due to a choking hazard from the toys that were inside the hollow chicken-sized egg. The eggs are a huge hit around the rest of the world, especially in Europe and Canada around Easter. Buckyballs magnets. The Buckyballs magnets were an overnight sensation when they first came out in 2009. Kids were able to mold and shape these little balls of magnet into anything they wanted. However, the magnets soon proved to be very hazardous to children as they started to swallow them, and they caused perforations in the intestines and stomach wall, thus requiring surgery to fix the problem. The toy was banned in 2012, but toy companies are trying to resell them under different names to avoid the ban. Real absinthe. If you think the absinthe you're buying in the United States is real, you're going to be disappointed to hear that you're just drinking green booze. Real absinthe has an alcohol content somewhere between 45 and 75% and gives the feelings of hallucinations and lucid drunkenness. Booze in the US tends to cap off at about 40% alcohol content. Also, real absinthe contains an ingredient called thujone, which causes the lucid drunkenness effect, and that ingredient is left out of absinthe sold in the US. Sassafras oil. Sassafras oil is banned in the United States since 1960 because it has side effects that can cause cancer, vomiting, and liver damage. However, in the rest of the world, sassafras oil is used to make things like soaps and root beer, and they apparently don't care as much about the side effects. Considering all of the other items allowed in the US that do cause cancer, this banishment is a little bit silly. Unpasteurized milk. This is one of the weirdest bans in the United States, since it's a natural product that comes from cows. So, if you want to drink raw, unpasteurized milk, then you'll have to get your own cow. There are strict laws in the United States that ban the selling of raw milk, and consumers can only buy pasteurized milk from their local grocery store. Interestingly enough, the rest of the world doesn't ban the selling of raw milk. Casu Marzu. Casu Marzu is a cheese made from unpasteurized milk, which we already know is banned. And it also has real-life maggots inside, so you're probably pretty relieved that this cheese is banned anyway. This cheese is from Sardinia, Italy, where they think eating a cheese where fresh fly larvae hatch from their eggs is a real delicacy. Ugh. Fresh ackee fruit. It might seem a little bit extreme to ban a fruit, but the banishment of the ackee fruit seems legitimate. The Jamaican fruit have seeds that can cause a condition called Jamaican vomiting sickness, which can cause a coma, seizures, and even death. But Jamaicans regularly consume the ackee fruit with saltfish as long as the fruit is ripe. It seems the United States doesn't trust consumers to buy and consume the fruit at an appropriate time. Ephedra. One of the most effective fat burners in the weight loss world was banned in 2004 due to causing extensive damage to the liver as well as causing strokes and heart attacks, which caused a big upset in the fitness world. Supposedly, there is now a new version of Ephedra out on the market that doesn't cause these side effects anymore, but only time will tell of its effectiveness. Pre-Columbian antiques. No need to do a double take, as this is one of the most bizarre and interesting things on this banned list. Before you spend thousands of dollars on your pre-Columbian decor, you might want to check in with the government to see if you can even have that item. Anything that is old and culturally significant is not allowed to leave their country of origin. This includes ritual objects, sculptures, pottery, etc. Haggis. Haggis is a popular Scottish delicacy made from sheep's livers, hearts, and lungs. While popular in the country of William Wallace, the dish is banned in the United States because it's illegal to eat lungs in the good old USA. The reason behind this is due to the study that consuming lungs causes a transmission of diseases and other ailments between species. Hearts and livers are fair game to be eaten though, so chomp away. Well, there you have it. Sorry, U.S. citizens. If anybody's out of the country, feel free to bring me back a Kinder Egg. But anyway, while you're here, here's a couple of the videos we think you guys might be into. Kids need a safe place to learn and grow, but how safe is too safe? Schools across the country fall victim to being just a little too overprotective by banning these very odd things. Superheroes banned from preschools. Okay, sometimes kids get a little carried away with their make-believe, but this is just ridiculous. An unnamed preschool sent home flyers with their students one day alerting parents that children were no longer allowed to play as or imitate their favorite superheroes. The school also asked that parents more closely monitor their offspring's media intake to help cut down on playground violence. This is how you turn Superman into Lex Luthor, people. LOL. In Atlanta elementary school, students were baffled when the administration asked them to sign a pledge agreeing to not use the acronym LOL when signing each other's yearbooks. Apparently, the ban was put into place to try and combat cruel handwritten jokes, but it was quickly repealed after being ridiculed by parents and students alike. Ha, lol. Let's not hug it out. St. Mary's County Public Elementary School issued a decree back in 2013 that outlawed several seemingly harmless threats to humanity, including birthday invitations and hugs. The reason behind this? Children not invited to a party or into a particular embrace would be left out and feel bad about themselves. Maryland schools aren't the only establishments to ban hugging either. Schools across Portland, Brooklyn, New Jersey, and New Zealand have all established anti-affection rules. Flashy fashion. At Baltic High School in South Dakota, 2 young girls' freedom of speech came under fire as they were instructed to remove bracelets from a cancer foundation that proudly stated, "I heart boobies." The girls initially complied, but later refused to remove them on Breast Cancer Awareness Day, and were suspended for disrespect, defiance, and disruption. The young students turned around and sued their school in a legal battle that almost went all the way to the Supreme Court. Someone evolved on the wrong side of the bed. The high school band from Smith Cotton High in Missouri printed up these fabulously cheeky t-shirts depicting the evolution of brass, only to be stunned when many parents came forward demanding that the shirts be forbidden. Why? The parents felt that the shirts screamed of Darwinism, which they do, and that it was an infringement upon their religious beliefs. The school sided with the parents and purchased the shirts off the students to keep them out of their hallways. Not the red pen. Is the color red a problem? No? Well, certain administrators at an academy in the UK county of Cornwall would heartily disagree with you. Educators took a stand, stating that the color red used to mark mistakes on student papers was altogether too negative and damaging on their pupils' forming minds. The red ink was banned and replaced by green ink, which is apparently a much more friendly color. A flamin' hot problem. In schools across the country from California to Illinois, the tiny mouth-watering snack of Flamin' Hot Cheetos have been banned. These hyper-palatable snacks have been banned for their ludicrously high fat content and the fact that the children who imbibe in them tend to leave tiny red fingerprints everywhere. Meep! Back in 2009, Thomas Murray, the principal of Danvers High School, banned the word meep from his school. This meaningless word, taken from the Timeless Muppets character Beaker, was apparently being used in a distracting manner by students who so regularly ignored their teachers' pleas to stop that it necessitated an all-out ban. Of all the 4-letter words to ban that actually exist in the English lexicon, teachers are really going to ban the nonsensical meep? Bake sale bust. In 2009, New York City's call to arms against sugar found a brand new target, the bake sale. A common staple to youth groups and clubs trying to raise money, the bake sale was outlawed for its weighty temptation of sugary snacks for the city's youth. On top of this ban, many schools across the U.S. have now banned any homemade snacks from their grounds, as anything homemade might contain allergens for other students. Hands off. The Tennessee State Senate passed a bill back in 2012 requiring that hand-holding be added to their school's sexual education and that the act of holding hands be deemed as a sexual act. Beyond demonizing the act, the state Senate put in place legislature stating that if a teacher were to hold a student's hand, it was a fireable offense. Friendship is banned. In 2012, a new trend arose in elementary schools across the UK. Teachers were forbidding children to have best friends. Teachers claimed that this was to spare the children the stress of best friend breakups. But if kids aren't learning how to handle these emotions at a young age, just what sort of monsters are they going to turn out to be down the road? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, we invite you to check out our good friends at The Taco for awesome list videos about shocking facts, celebrities, fashion, and random stuff. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks!
Some people are so stupid. I don't even want to know this one. Let's see.
Parenting can go from having a lovable relationship with your kids to having an all-out civil war. But how far is too far when it comes to parenting? Michael Ray and Tina Marie Alberson. Michael Ray and Tina Marie Alberson may face the death penalty after their 10-year-old son, Jonathan James, died from dehydration. Jonathan had wet the bed, and as a punishment, his dad and stepmom made him stand on an X drawn on the kitchen floor for 5 days in 100-degree plus heat in Dallas, Texas, while there was no air conditioning.
Yeah, I'm doing on my live stream.
All during the process, Jonathan was denied water, which resulted in dehydration
I would beat the crap out
and organ failure, as well as cardiac arrest. Tommy Jordan. Tommy Jordan quickly became internet famous after he posted a video shooting his 15-year-old daughter's laptop with a .45 caliber gun and using several rounds. Jordan was mad after his daughter posted a note on Facebook complaining about her responsibilities. So Jordan posted his own rebuttal of the note, all while calling his daughter an ass and smoking a cigarette. The video went viral, and Jordan was visited by a social worker as well as police, who gave him parenting tips while supposedly congratulating him on a lesson well taught. Anthony Powell. Anthony Powell found himself charged with capital murder after he beat his 3-year-old son to death over potty training frustrations. Because his son Tristan was having accidents, Anthony proceeded to push his son and pick him up and throw him to the ground where his head hit the floor hard. After Tristan wouldn't wake up, he was taken to the hospital where he died the following day. The beating was witnessed by Anthony's sister, who confessed about the incident to the police. Jessica Beagley. Jessica Beagley submitted videos of her adopted son's behavior as well as her punishments to the Dr. Phil show as a way to get help with her son's behavior. The gesture ended up backfiring though, as she ended up facing misdemeanor charges. Beagley's punishments included putting hot sauce in her son's mouth as well as making him stand in a freezing cold shower. Christy Prado. Christy Prado nearly found herself in prison after she forced her 10-year-old son to wear makeup and dress up in women's clothing after he had wet the bed. Christy took a photo and posted it on Facebook, even though it showed her son having tears streaming down his face. Then she made her son run around outside while onlookers laughed at him. If that wasn't enough, her son was then forced to take a cold shower while Christy and her roommate threw ice at him. Charges were eventually dropped, with police citing there wasn't enough evidence to charge, but her son remained at his grandmother's house. Holding books. In 2014, a young man was caught stealing, and so his father bestowed a punishment that seemed a bit different from the traditional lecture or even spanking. He forced his son to hold several books over his head. The task was probably pretty easy at first, but then we see the son screaming in pain while the father lectures his son on making better choices and being more respectful to authority figures. The punishment received mixed reactions, especially since the video was made public, adding public humiliation to the son's torture. Frances Henna. Frances Henna made headlines after she forced her daughter Jamie to wear a sign on a street corner in Bakersfield, California with a sign that read, "I was disrespecting my parents by twerking at my school dance." Did we mention that Jamie was only 11 years old? Henna got ripped up by the public, saying that it was shameful to publicly humiliate a child when there were other ways to discipline her, not to mention the potential harassment her daughter was exposed to. Bad haircut. After his son got bad grades and lost his $700 iPad, YouTube user King Ease decided to inflict punishment upon his son by giving him a bad haircut. Not only that, but King recorded the session and posted it up on YouTube to further his son's humiliation. So not only did the kid have to deal with the backlash at school, but he also had to deal with the world knowing what he did. However, King Ease got a lot of heat for the punishment and dealt with a lot of criticism. Antonia Folsom. Antonia Folsom wasn't happy when her 13-year-old son missed his 9 p.m. curfew and came home 15 minutes late. She decided to lock her son out of the house and told her 15-year-old daughter not to let him in. Instead, she made her son sleep outside on the concrete patio, and his sister gave him a blanket and pillow. The next morning, the 13-year-old called the police, and Folsom was arrested for deprivation of a minor. Good parenting. In 2015, a video went viral online that was uploaded by a dad who was done with his son's failing grades. He gave his son only 3 weeks to improve his academic performance, but failed to do so. As punishment, he gave his son a sledgehammer and forced him to destroy his Xbox, all while using foul language and public humiliation. After the first Xbox is destroyed, the dad then brings in an Xbox One and once again forces his son to destroy it. All the while, his son is crying. So what did you think of these rather horrible punishments? Let us know in the comments. And while you're here, here's a couple other videos that we think you might be into. And please don't forget to click like and subscribe. Thanks! We go to school to learn. In fact, from the time we are little to our years as young adults, we spend a good chunk of the day learning everything from math to physics to English. Naturally, during these many years of school, we can come across more than a couple teachers who seem to make things harder than they need to be. The answer? Sweet revenge. In the following examples, you'll see it's the students giving the lesson, as these teachers end up getting owned for a variety of reasons. Now, to make sure you don't get owned by us, pay attention and watch out for our quiz. We'll ask it during the video, and we hope you know the answer. But before we start, make sure you have your textbooks and last night's homework all finished. Attendance is mandatory, so push that red subscribe button so we know you are here and ready to go. Literally. Odds are that at some time in your schooling you took a history class or two. You know, that class where you learned a lot about really famous people who did stuff a long time ago. In addition to having to read a lot, history classes are also notorious for requiring students to write papers. If you're lucky, you only had to ever write 4 or 8-page research papers. If you weren't, then massive 20-page essays complete with footnotes and bibliography were likely your reward. In any event, one of the favorite assignments of a history teacher is to have students pretend they are in the shoes of a historical figure. In one particular class, students were asked to pretend that they were Chinese immigrants in the United States. Their task was to write a letter home to relatives in China describing the experiences they had. While this seems pretty straightforward to you and I, one student clearly decided to put one over on the teacher. When they handed their assignment in, what greeted the teacher was a page full of Chinese characters. Well, you can't say the student didn't try to make the assignment authentic. Out on the court. In the classroom, there is always a joker or two lurking and waiting for their chance to make the teacher look foolish. Whether saying something sarcastic to the teacher or drawing a rather phallic shape on the blackboard to create embarrassment, the battle between teacher and student is never ending. Sometimes, however, this clash can move from the classroom to the playing field, or in this case, the basketball court. Now, normally we wouldn't suggest going up against your gym teacher in any sport because they have years and years of experience. They also control your grades and can make you do extra laps after everyone else heads to the shower. In this case, a student squared off one-on-one with their teacher while some other students watched on. In the battle of youth versus experience, it was anyone's guess who would triumph. Once the competition got underway, however, the student quickly became the master with some sweet moves that left the teacher laying on the hardwood. Unable to match the speed and reflexes of the student, we think this teacher definitely knew they had been owned even before the ball went into the basket. Poke owned. There are 2 types of people in this world, those who like math and the rest of us.
Snagit is the tool for quick, clear communication. Click and drag to capture just what you need on.
Thanks to the internet and social media, lying is nearly impossible to do. Every time you post something online, there's a small army of internet detectives who are fact-checking your story. Should you get caught in a lie that lasts forever, thanks to screenshots and gossip. The people you're about to meet didn't get the memo. Here are 10 people who got called out online. Before we start, we want to let you know that there will be a quiz. As you laugh with us on people's bad decisions, keep in mind that you might be tested on the knowledge you gain from this video. Finally, if you're brand new to our channel, or you've been hanging around for a while, be sure to subscribe to The Richest, and be the first to know every time we upload a new video. Grandma, is that you?